Are you sure you're actually fine with your money? Or are you just comforting yourself so you don't panic? Let's be honest. When you say, "I'm fine," is that the truth? Or just a survival reflex to temporarily soothe that quiet, persistent anxiety inside you? You know, the kind of thing like when a doctor asks, "Sleeping well lately?" And you reply, "Yeah, it's okay," even though every night you're tossing around like a fish out of water. With money, most of us use the exact same trick, pretending to be calm so we don't have to look reality in the eye. Have you ever wondered why your heart beats a bit faster the moment someone mentions finances? And your hand suddenly wants to fiddle with something to ease the tension? Or why you avoid opening your banking app the same way you avoid texts from your ex? You don't want to see the truth, because deep down, you're scared that those numbers will stab straight into your self-worth like a cold needle. But hey, don't blame yourself, I know. You're not strange at all. Everyone has had those moments of sitting there, staring into space, thinking, not sure what people are living on that they look so comfortable? Am I falling behind? Are others panicking like I am? Or am I just terrible at this? Here's the good news and the bad news. Most people are just as confused as you are. They're just better at acting. If there were an Olympic medal for financial camouflage, we'd have a whole national team. But the important question is still this. Do you want to keep playing the role of "I'm fine"? Or are you ready to look straight at your real self? Not to blame yourself, not to panic, but to take back control. If you've ever had that moment where someone posts about traveling, upgrading their car, buying a house, and you immediately think, where am I in this game? Lack direction, lack a compass. And you know this already. No one can go far if they're just guessing the way. So here's the real question for you, right now. Do you want to know the truth? Or just what helps you sleep better tonight? Those two choices lead to two completely different lives. Today, we choose truth. But not the serious, judgmental kind. The kind that helps you laugh, breathe easier, and most importantly, wake up just a bit more clearly to move forward. Are you ready? Welcome to Mie Invests channel, where smart money moves start here. Subscribe for clear financial strategies. Do you know what the most common belief in the age of social media is? People are probably richer than me. And I have to say this bluntly. Wrong, completely wrong. I don't even know how wrong to describe it. Let's be honest. Every time you open Instagram or TikTok, you see people flaunting a Maldives vacation, showing off a shiny new car, a fancy apartment, a brunch at a place where a pancake costs your entire weekly food budget. And instantly, your brain switches on that familiar mantra. The whole world is living well, except me struggling over here. But hey, you're comparing their highlights with your behind the scenes, and the truth? Let me reveal something you should probably stick on your bedroom wall. Most people who seem stable are actually living on money they haven't earned yet. In English, it's called future money. In Vietnamese, it's swipe now, figure it out later. And in real life, it's called playing rich on the internet. Don't believe it? Look closer. The person who just posted a Hawaii trip? Beat of, high chance it's installment payments. The one showing off a new car? Good bitsy pattis, maybe a 60-month loan. The one in that dreamy apartment? The bank debt for 25 years. The one flaunting a luxury bag? Their credit card is screaming. They're bad. Don't get wrong. They're not bad people. They're just like most of us, trying to look like they're living a better life than they actually are. The problem is, you look at those photos and create a whole story in your head. They must be ahead of me. They must be making good money. I must really be falling behind. But the story you tell yourself isn't reality. And the funny thing is, they're looking at other people thinking the exact same things as you. An endless loop of comparison, a whole ecosystem of illusion. A competition to see who can pretend to be okay more convincingly. Good news or bad news, depending on how you see it. Most people are struggling financially, quietly, discreetly, never wanting to admit it. You're not an outlier, you're just living outside the camera frame. You know what? Many people post fancy dining tables while their bank balance is thinner than a sheet of paper. Many flaunt a stable lifestyle while their personal finances are as unstable as Wi-Fi at peak hours. Many smile brightly in photos, but lie awake at night wondering how they'll manage next month. If you think you're the only one who's not okay, then congratulations, you've overestimated others and underestimated the truth. The truth is very ordinary. Most people aren't okay, they're just good at hiding it. You're choosing to look straight at it, and facing reality is the first step to escaping the crowd of pretending to be okay. Do you want me to tell you a truth that everyone knows but no one wants to accept? Here it is. Money is like body weight, and yes, it sounds funny, but it's so accurate you'll want to stand up and clap. Think about it. One fine day, you decide, I need to live healthier, look better, get fit again. So you buy an expensive pair of running shoes, download a bunch of workout apps, follow a few six-pack fitness coaches. But then you refuse to step on the scale. Why? Because you're afraid the number will betray the image you have of yourself. You're afraid it will expose the truth. You're not as healthy as you think, not as light as you imagine, not as fine as you keep telling yourself. And then what? And you just, guess, train in your imagination, improve in your fantasy. Money works the exact same way. How are Portia Chaya Yue? You want better finances? Want more freedom? Want to stop feeling terrified every time you open your banking app? But to where you are? But if you don't know where you are, then where exactly are you heading? If you don't know your balance, don't know how much you spend, don't know how much you owe, don't know what your net worth is, then all your efforts are just working out based on hope, and you can't improve what you refuse to look at. Just like with body weight, you want to lose weight? You need to know how much you weigh. You want to build muscle? How? You need to know your body fat percentage. You want to be healthy? Here it go. Woo! You need to know what your actual metrics are saying. And with money, you want to be rich? Hamptons, you need to know your real income and expenses. You want to be safe? You need to know how much you're saving and investing. You want freedom? Hatterbus, you Waston. You need to know what your current net worth is. Stop avoiding the numbers. Stop avoiding the bank. Stop avoiding the truth. The truth isn't trying to attack you. The truth just wants to help you. Wake up. And the interesting thing is, once you dare to look at the numbers, whether they're good, bad, or I don't even know how to describe this, you'll notice something. The fear drops immediately, not because the numbers are nice, but because you finally took back control. Learning about finances isn't complicated, isn't only for the rich, isn't something to deal with later. It's like stepping on the scale every morning. Simple, quick, but incredibly important. You don't need to do anything grand right away. Vanette, you just need to start with one thing. Know where you are, because if you don't know your starting point, you can't plan your route. And if you don't have a plan, you'll run in circles, then wonder, why am I still in the same place? So from now on, every time you're tempted to avoid the numbers, remember this. You're not avoiding the numbers, and you're avoiding your own future. Alright, now it's time to weigh in for real. Not body weight, but your financial weight. And honestly, these numbers aren't here to make you panic, but to snap you out of illusions and switch you into reality mode. Here comes the wake-up punch. Branch, brace yourself. Income. The first slap. The median personal income in the US is $52,000 USD a year. Sounds impressive, right? But after taxes, It's only 35,000, 40,000 USDs. A whole year of hard work, and you open your bank account to see half of that pride evaporate. If you've ever heard someone say, I make $52,000 a year, and you imagine them living like in a movie, sorry, that's a fantasy film. Because the reality is, $40K a year is about $3,300 a month. And now, let's look at the expenses. Retirement, the punch that makes you sit up straight.
Median retirement savings. S. 65,000 USD.
Sounds kind of okay, right? But wait. 25% of Americans have $0 for retirement. A quarter of the population completely empty-handed. And those over 65 have a median of 88,000 USD. Sounds good. But if you withdraw according to the 4% rule, you will get $3,500 over a year. Try imagining this. Electricity plus medication plus food plus living expenses made us 300 USD? It's impossible, truly impossible. Expenses the kick that shatters every illusion. The average American household spends $5,577 per month for.
Yes, you read that right. $67,000 a year just to live normally.
Breakdown. Housing, $118,885 USF. Food, $691 USN. Transportation. Just by opening your eyes each month, you've lost nearly 2,000 US dues in housing alone. If you ever thought, why do people spend so extravagantly? No, they're just living. Life itself is expensive. Debt and credit the stab through your sense of confidence. Average FICO score, 715. Decent, seems like Americans know how to pay their debts. But credit card debt, 9,000 USD, with 20% interest. 1,800 USD a year evaporates just to pay interest on clothes. Starbucks cups. Or those, well, I already swiped, so might as well keep swiping trips. You're not broke because you're bad. You're broke because interest rates are too strong. Net worth, the slap to the illusion that people are way ahead of me. Median net worth, 122,000 USDs. But by age, reality becomes clearer. Under 35 years old, under 14,000 USD. 35 to 44 years old, 91,000 USD. Where's the wealth? Of you like you imagine. Savings rate, the final boss, finishing move. Americans save an average of 6% of their income. 6%, not enough to age gracefully, let alone comfortably. This is why so many people work until 70, not because they want to, but because their savings aren't enough to retire. All right, at this point, we're no longer in the realizing the truth phase. Now we're in the roll up your sleeves and do it phase. Because awareness without action is like buying a one-year gym membership and, never going. Money gone. Weight the same. And your bank account just gets sadder and sadder. So I'll say this, straight, short, and in the style of a coach, gently but firmly grabbing you by the collar. You don't need to do anything grand. Just be slightly above average. But do it now. Avoid credit card debt. You've already beaten 50% of the population. You don't need to be rich. You don't need to invest like Warren Buffett. You just need to not have credit card debt. I'm not kidding. Half the population is struggling with an average credit card debt of 9,000 USDs. With 20% interest, meaning each year they donate 1,800 USD and stupidity fees to credit card companies. You don't need to be smarter than them. Just don't swipe for things you don't have the money to pay for. Though, here's the easiest financial advice in the world. No credit card debt temps, you're already above 50% of the population. Save 10%. Pentagrams, you surpass the average. Americans save an average of 6%. And that's why they work until their backs give out, and you just need to save 10% or more. Just 10%, nothing fancy. It won't make you rich instantly, but it gives you a future where you're not eating instant noodles at 70. Saving 10% is the financial version of 10 push-ups a day. Simple, not glamorous, but after a year you'll thank yourself. Spend below the average baseline. You create the gap that makes you wealthy. The average US household spends $5,577 USD stash month. You don't need to spend much less. Wealth doesn't come from how much you make, It comes from the gap between earning and spending. Spend $200 month less than the crowd? It's small, sure, but you're stacking 2,400 yuan years tandas 24,000 USDs. 20 years tend is enough to smirk when someone flashes their brand new credit card. Small gaps create big futures, and that's the power of a little less. Invest consistently, Tikeg. You leave an entire generation behind. People don't get rich because they win the lottery. They get rich because they're consistent, while the crowd does it when excited, quits when discouraged. You just need to consistently buy index funds, consistently move money into your investment account, consistently let your money work whether you're happy or annoyed. If you do this for 5 years, you surpass emotional investors. If you do it for 10 years, you're on a different level. If you do it for 20 years, you become the story they tell for inspiration. No genius needed, just discipline. Alright, now let me turn off the fun coach mode for a moment and switch to the coach who tells the truth so you wake up, because at some point, the truth needs to be said with no sugar, no cream, no topping. This is a light warning, but if you ignore it, it becomes a heavy warning, and if you keep ignoring it, it becomes your actual life. Ready? No. Here's what will happen if you ignore all the numbers we just went through. You will retire at 61 and not have enough money to live. It sounds like a sad headline on the news, but it's the reality of millions of people. Work almost 40 years, end up with 80-90K in savings, withdraw 300 US per month, then wonder, so how am I supposed to live? No one deserves to spend the final years of life cutting every cent. No one deserves to agonize over, do I buy medicine today? Or buy food? Do I see a doctor or hope it fixes itself? But that is exactly the script of normal people, and if you don't change, you will follow that path very directly and very brutally. Very few sugra. You will use credit cards to run your life, and you already know. Using it for a few months is manageable. Using it for a few years is painful. Using it for a few decades and you're no longer spinning the card. Dig. The card is spinning you. Credit card debt is like quicksand. The deeper you sink, the more exhausted you get. The more exhausted you get, the more you swipe to relieve stress, and this loop drags your entire future down with it. If you think, I can handle it, that is the first sign you can't. You will spend the last 20 years of your life worrying simply because you didn't prepare. Imagine you're 75 years old, and every morning you wake up not thinking about traveling, visiting grandkids, or learning to paint. You're thinking about money every single day. Trust me, there is no stress more persistent than financial stress when you're old. At 30, 40, 50, you still have bounce. At 70, you don't have the strength to start over, and at that moment, you'll wish you could go back to this year, this month, this day, and start preparing. But time doesn't go back. It only moves forward, and it drags you along, whether you're prepared or not. This isn't fear-mongering. This is the weather forecast of your financial life. If you watch it and ignore it, you'll step outside right when the storm hits. What's the good news? Storm isn't here yet, and you still have time. But you need to start now. Alright, take a breath. We've just gone through truth, numbers, risk warnings, enough to make you feel a bit overwhelmed. But this is the part I love most. Lifting you up, brushing the dust off your shoulders, and reminding you that you are stronger than you think. The most important thing after this video, you were not born to be average. Not today. Not ever. Average in finance is not safe. It leads to debt, insufficient savings, quiet stress, and an old age full of worry. You deserve more than that. And the good news is, you don't need to be 200% better. You just need to be a little better in the right places. Save from 6% to 10%. Spend a little more mindfully. Invest consistently every month, or only. Limit credit card debt. Know exactly where you are. You don't need to beat the world. You just need to beat the normal version of yourself from yesterday. Today you've seen the baseline. Tomorrow you surpass it for 10 with just one intentional step. The rest? Discipline and time. You don't need to be rich right away. You just need to adjust your direction. I don't choose average. I choose slightly better full head every day.